Welcome to our deep dive into the life of Pavel Durov, the billionaire founder of Telegram, whose recent arrest in France has sparked global headlines. In this Sky News Digital Originals, we'll explore Durov's background, his rise to tech prominence, and the circumstances surrounding his arrest. Join us as we uncover the story of one of the most intriguing figures in the tech world. Sky News Digital Originals presents Who is Pavel Durov? On August 25, Pavel Durov was arrested in France and he's now under a formal investigation. He stands accused of aiding and abetting criminal offences on his messaging app, amongst other things. This arrest was a dramatic turn in a story that has already seen its share of high-profile moments.
The arrest has initially to do with claims around the willingness of Telegram to cooperate with Western law enforcement agencies investigating crimes that are coordinated on the application. It's become very popular for criminal groups to coordinate their activities on Telegram. And the company has been unwilling so far to cooperate with law enforcement agencies in the West on getting access to user information.
Telegram allows people to communicate all different types of information, research, thoughts, opinions, kind of what it's supposed to be like, right? Freedom of speech, but also factual information. And what's interesting is that they can say to someone, there's child trafficking, happening on this. Really? So they can't get rid of porn and child porn off the internet. They can't get rid of that with, Facebook, and they've been responsible for sharing images. Google could be responsible. All these other places are responsible, but they're targeting the one platform that has been the biggest supporter of free speech through the last, 5 years.
Telegram issued this statement not long after Durov's arrest. It is absurd to claim that a platform or its owner are responsible for abuse of that platform. Almost 1 billion users globally use Telegram as a means of communication and as a source of vital information. We're awaiting a prompt resolution of this situation. Telegram is with you all. The arrest has ignited a firestorm of reactions online, with supporters rallying around Durov and critics questioning the motives behind his detainment. Ex-owner Elon Musk posted a video of Durov with the hashtag #FreePavel. The response out of his home country of Russia has also been met with anger and outrage.
They're absolutely livid. Russian bloggers are going nuts. They're trying to transfer a lot of their communications over to other platforms. It's going to be very difficult considering how heavily used Telegram is by Russian military forces. And they've built up these huge audiences for coordinating disinformation campaigns. So even in Australia, for example, let's just take a specific example here. There is a Russian citizen who goes by the name Aussie Cossack on Telegram. Simon Boykov is his real name. Very pro-Russian. So he's currently hiding in the Russian consulate, but he's built up a Telegram presence. He coordinates a huge amount of his disinformation using his Telegram following. And then he uses that Telegram group to manipulate other platforms like Facebook and Twitter. So even in Australia, we see elements of Russian disinformation, particularly by Simon Boykov, and another account goes by name Syria Girl, who's massively pro-Russian, pro-Syria, pro-Assad, coordinating huge disinformation out of Australia using Telegram. So these issues kind of come together into a fulcrum of the French deciding that it's time to do something about this guy. He's a French citizen. He's also a UAE citizen, and UAE reacted in his defense as well. They've asked for consular assistance. He was given a UAE citizenship in no small part because of the power of Telegram and UAE's long-standing national interest in accessing encrypted communications.
So who exactly is Pavel Durov, the man who has just been arrested in France? Well, he's known as the Russian Elon Musk. He spent his early years in Russia, showcasing a strong interest in technology from a young age.
So Pavel Durov is a serial technology founder and inventor. Originally from Leningrad in Russia, was born during the Soviet Union. His first company was VK, which is another social media company that's quite popular in Russia. And then he founded the application Telegram, It's been a very successful company and has become originally the social media of choice for the Russian language, which has made it incredibly popular in Slavic countries, but has since then found that it's had a much larger user base as well in the English-speaking world.
His first major tech venture, VK, was often referred to as the Russian Facebook. It quickly became Russia's largest social networking site, showcasing Durov's knack for understanding digital trends and user behaviour. In 2013, Pavel Durov, alongside his brother, launched Telegram, a messaging app designed to offer secure and private communication. Telegram distinguished itself with end-to-end encryption and a commitment to user privacy. This distinguished themselves from messaging platforms like WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. The app's unique selling points quickly garnered a massive user base, making it one of the most popular messaging apps worldwide.
The most positive use case that I've had for Telegram is that it's very useful for getting air raid alerts in Ukraine. So if you're operating on your mobile phone and you're in a office building, a lot of the time you don't hear air raid sirens. So you won't be necessarily aware of exactly what's going on in the news. And because it's incredibly popular in Ukraine amongst the government and civilian population, it's actually used as part of the emergency services announcements for missile attacks. So at the moment in Kyiv right now, they're receiving air raid alerts and missile attacks from the Russian armed forces. And a lot of people are getting the information about that through the app. The downside is a lot of the coordination of those strikes is being done on Telegram by the Russians. So Telegram has become the platform of choice for the Russian armed forces because it's a Russian language platform, because Durov is Russian, because Durov is assessed by Ukrainian intelligence to have a significant relationship with Russian intelligence. It's trusted by Russian forces as a platform that they can use to coordinate military activities. So at the military layer, getting access to the back end of Telegram by Western law enforcement and intelligence is terrifying to the Russians, which is why they're treating his arrest in France as an organized defection. So when you look online and you see the commentary by Russian bloggers, they're panicking because so much of the Russian armed forces is coordinated on the platform. So many Russian disinformation efforts are coordinated on the platform. It's been used regularly as part of an information operations strategy by the Russian government. And the French have got a particular axe to grind with Telegram after their recent election where a pro-Putin candidate, Le Pen, did very well and was narrowly defeated from winning the parliamentary elections with her party. So that has the French very angry. They're rather annoyed that Russia intervenes in its elections using Telegram as part of the coordination process for that. And so there's a lot of overlapping legal issues that are facing the application, not the least which in the United States, another piece of legislation recently passed last year. It's been primarily discussed in terms of how it applies to TikTok because it applies to countries that are authoritarian, that host social media platforms that are used to influence American elections and censor American free speech. Now, that law was written, it's been primarily discussed in terms of its applications to TikTok, but it also likely applies to WeChat and Telegram. So Telegram is flying in the face of increasing legal issues. The relationship between Durov and the Russian state has always been prickly on the outside, but assessed by Ukrainian intelligence to be very cozy on the inside. And as a result, Ukrainian forces don't use it. One of the reasons why they got surprised in the recent Kursk offensive was because they didn't use Telegram for their forces, even though Telegram is incredibly popular in the Ukrainian armed forces. So they were very careful not to give the Russians a heads up and managed to achieve strategic and tactical surprise during that offensive. So Telegram is a very complex application in terms of how it's being perceived globally. And Durov, at least in the view of the Russians and the Ukrainian intelligence, is using his arrest by the French to do some sort of a deal to get him out of some of the trouble that he's in.
Despite Telegram's success, Durov's journey has been fraught with controversy. His outspoken nature and the app's stance on privacy have frequently put him at odds with governments and regulatory bodies. In an interview with Tucker Carlson on the Tucker Carlson network in April, the tech founder made some bold allegations around issues he and his platform have come up against.
We get too much attention from the FBI, the security agencies, wherever we came to the US. So to give you an example, last time I was in the US, I brought an engineer that is working for Telegram, and there was an attempt to secretly hire my engineer behind my back by cybersecurity officers or agents, wherever they are called.
The US government tried to hire your engineer?
That's my understanding. That's what he told me.
To write code for them or to break into Telegram?
They were curious to learn which open source libraries are integrated to the Telegram's app, on the client side, and they were trying to persuade him to use certain open source tools that he would then integrate into the Telegram's code that, in my understanding, would serve as backdoors.
Would allow the US government to spy on people who use Telegram?
The US government, or maybe any other government, because a backdoor is a backdoor regardless of who is using it.
That's right.
And
that's a little surprising to hear. Maybe it's not surprising, it's offensive. You're confident that happened?
Yes. There is no reason for my engineer to make up the stories. Also because I personally experienced similar pressure in the US. Whenever I would go to the US, I would have two FBI agents greeting me at the airport, asking questions. One time I was having my breakfast at like 9 a.m. and the FBI showed up at my house that I was renting. And that was quite surprising. And I thought, we're getting too much attention here. It's probably not the best environment to run.
Why would had you committed a crime?
No. They were interested to learn more about Telegram. They knew I, left Russia. They knew what we were doing, but they wanted details. And my understanding is that they wanted to establish a relationship to, in a way, control Telegram better. I understand they were doing their job. It's just that for us running a privacy-focused social media platform, that probably wasn't the best environment to be in. We want to be focused on what we do, not on government relations of that sort.
Telegram's continued success and its role as a tool for privacy advocates will likely be impacted by this legal battle. Durov's leadership has been instrumental in shaping the app's direction, and his legal troubles could influence how Telegram navigates future challenges. There are still plenty of repercussions of Durov's arrest that are yet to unfold.
I think in the first instance, we should all be enjoying the Russians freaking out. That's always good when that happens. I think as a person who's spent a lot of time in Ukraine, it's always good when they have a bad day. When dictators struggle to manipulate Western elections, when they struggle to get their propaganda out, when that's disrupted, I think we should universally acknowledge that that's a good thing. The longer term of unpicking Telegram, whether it has a future as an app, as a European company rather than a Russian one, if it can fully cut itself away from the Russian state and its interests, and it can demonstrate trust to its Western regulators, it'll likely have a future. I think Durov's got a better chance of getting his company out of Russia than Shou Chu, the CEO of TikTok, has of getting his app out of China. So I think we'll be looking to see if TikTok follows a similar path of trying to do a deal with the US government or the French government in some way to get out of China. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think Telegram might just get away with it if they can fully cut ties to Putin. And certainly Putin and his cronies and the information space in Russia is treating this like Telegram's changing sides.
As we await further developments, one thing is clear. Pavel Durov's journey is far from over. His story is a compelling mix of innovation, controversy and resilience, a reflection of the broader struggles faced by tech leaders in a rapidly evolving world.